overjoyed to be standing here with one of our own, well, two of our own really, but primarily the award-winning screenwriter.
There it is. There it is. There it is.
George Powell of The Walk. He's been in conversation with his childhood friend Naheem Garcia, who is an amazing actor who's been in more than a dozen films and teaches at very fancy places like Huntington. And I am going to, I'm going to turn it over to them, but give me a few minutes because I just need to say a couple of things. Just about these two men and what they mean to the organization in particular. So for those who don't know, Everyday Boston, I don't know where I said this, I'm Marisol, I'm founder and executive director of Everyday Boston. We are a nonprofit that brings people from all different backgrounds together through the sharing of life stories. And the goal is really to strengthen communication and understanding across the city, street by street, neighborhood by neighborhood, race across races, across age divides, any kind of divide. That's what we're about bridging. Story by story, we're really trying to work to make Boston the most connected city in America. And you all are a part of that, so I want to thank you for that. We would not be in this room, we would not be gathered here today at all if not for the founding team of Everyday Boston, so I just want to shout them out briefly. Yes. These are 4 community leaders from different neighborhoods in Boston, and all of them really believe that stereotypes were kind of poisoning our city, and really felt like stories could connect us when really nothing else can. So these people really have shaped Everyday Boston in profound ways, and it would not be alive today if not for them. So the first person is Carmen Pola, who is actually just recently celebrated as one of the Latino pioneers in Boston. She's from Mission Hill, and Kathy Whitehouse from Charlestown, longtime community advocate. Gabby Follett from Dorchester, also a longtime community advocate. So shout out to all of them. And then, of course, George. So I met George through a really amazing, very special organization called SPAN. And the founder is here today, when I first met George, we sat down and I kind of told him the seed of the idea for Everyday Boston. And without really missing a beat, he was just kind of like, that's a beautiful vision, I'm in. And when George says he's in, he's really in. He's all the way in. So for the past several years, sometimes every day, all the time, every week, every important decision that we've made at Everyday Boston pretty much is run through George. I consider him sort of the North Star of the organization and my close friend. And just an FYI, if you ever need something in the middle of the night and you're friends with George, you can text him and you know that he's there, because that's the kind of person he is. And also because he's up there in the script. He really is. So when he wrote the script, The Walk, and when it got turned into a movie, and then when the movie made a big screen of people attached to it and won awards at the Boston International Film Festival, I was excited but not surprised, because the guy's got a ton of talent, but also an insane work ethic and just a really unfailing belief that dreams can and will get done. So, which brings me to Naheem. In the early days of Everyday Boston, when George was really interviewing a lot of different people around the city, and those stories end up on our website, he said, I want to interview my friend Naheem, because he was really just incredibly proud of what you had done with your life. That's what you told me. And the path that you had taken. And so we did that interview in Cobham Square in your apartment. And that interview, I just want to say, is on our website, but I bring Naheem's story into every single school and workplace, and prison, anywhere that we do our training. Naheem is there, because I show everybody in the very beginning a picture of Naheem, and I make people guess what his name is and what his story is. and they always get it wrong. Right?
Everybody but Naheem.
That's right. Because you can never know what somebody's life is like, right, until you ask them. So, they all got it wrong, but you guys are actually going to get a chance to hear it for yourselves today. So, I will turn it over to you.
Thank you. So, I'm going to be upfront. This is probably going to be a very personal conversation that you all are invited to watch like flies on the wall. We may not get into the depth of some of our story and our journey, because there's no need to talk about it. But we want you to know, with two kids from Dorchester, right? Yes, man. Oh, I thought you were yes, ma'am, you have a question already? No, two kids from Dorchester who met on the other side of the track and became brothers. So I want to start like, well, when I met you, I was in the 9th grade. I was friends with a good friend of ours named Kurt Lewis, who became my big brother. And when he brought me around, I met George, I met Lenny, of course I met Tony, the big brother. Tony's in here. Then Tony, Sylvester, Tracy, there was a small group of young men that came together and became these type brothers. But the core was Kurt, George, I was about to say something, George and Lenny and myself. And then as time went on, George and Lenny and I started hanging, and as time went on, and then became you and I. And I'm going to say, you might get mad if I say it, but I'm going to say, we were in the streets. We liked the streets.
You can't get mad at that.
I'm fine, and here I go. We was in the street. Four corners. I lived in Mattapan, and we were young, and we wanted to be gangsters, because that's what they gave us. That's what they told us we had. You can be a gangster, you can be a drug dealer, you can be a pimp. I didn't like pimping because I love women, so I love my mama. So I didn't want to do that. But you can be tough. Plus in our neighborhood, we had to be tough. We had to be. If you're soft and you let somebody bully you, you're going to be ruined. And not only that, we had to fight because we had dreams. We wanted more. Remember what you wrote in high school? I wanted to ask that question forever.
Well, I don't remember.
I do remember.
I'm like an old head. I don't remember things. It's like, I just forget.
You don't remember what you wrote? That you wanted to be a mobster. You wanted to be a mobster. It's like, what?
I remember.
Yeah! That's his wife. She was second everything. Oh, that was that. Just in the back there. Hey, Sid. Yeah, I was your wife that said it. Yep. And but
in a different level.
In a different level. Not like
right now,
today.
it's the real mobsters. Make the movies.
Yeah.
That's right.
But we wanted. I remember one day when George said to me, and I said it to you, but I don't think I ever said it in public and in front of you. George was one of the people the person that turned my life around. He doesn't even know what he said to me. He said to me one night, I was the only kid. They always made fun of me because I was always wearing a suit. I'm on the block, we're selling things, and I'm wearing a suit because I thought it was business, and that was just who I was. But I really wasn't about that life. And he knew that. He said, you're an actor. You work with kids. This is not your life. Get out of here and go do that. And I was like, I could be down. No. Because being tough doesn't mean being a street thug. Being tough means living out your dream. You got a dream. You're the only one out of all of us doing this, that, this, and the other. So I go and I start doing my filming and theater works and everything's going on. I'm gonna fast forward a little bit to
Stop, hold on.
Okay.
Can we celebrate that?
Said something to me, and then it's going to go into all about you after we talk about me. So he said that to me. So the years go on, I'm doing various work. I get hooked up with the Huntington Theater Company. I've been with them for the last 30-something years. I just recently got with the American Repertory Theater as a teaching artist for them too. And I did a lot of work in Boston Public School, but I never left my dream to be an actor and do films. So we're going to fast forward years later. George called me. He's on his way home. Calls me. He says, I don't even know if he remembers that. Man, I've been watching your film and looking for you. Okay, what you looking for me? I'm your brother. You can find me anywhere. But no, I've been looking for you. I didn't know what he was looking with. Then I find out he's got 4 scripts. Now mind you.
Oh, 10.
Well, there's 4 that I knew of, but there was 10. Now, I won't lie to you. I was like, what did you say? I never even knew you could write. You know what I mean? That's the truth. What's up, Steve? We got a lot of brothers that was with us that have gone through the journey. We're not alone. We're not alone.
Hold on, you're a hip hop legend in the town, breakdancer.
That's right.
I ain't gonna let you get away with
This is
that.
about him. Okay, but I got a whole thing before I bring you in. So because it's going to bring it into four corners and negate the whole section of what I call the triangle. You know, so he comes out and he's writing scripts, and I said he's writing scripts. He wrote some scripts. I introduced him to my little sister, surrogate sister, Narissa Scott, who is a film producer and associate director at the time of the sound stage over at Emerson. And boom, boom, boom. He gives me the script. I have his scripts. Now, I'm a lazy reader. I will be honest with anybody. You give me something to read, I'll get to it. Won't be today, won't be tomorrow, won't be next week, but I'll get to it. Narissa gets on the phone. She says, have you read the script? I said, I got it. I'll get to it. I just got all this other stuff I'm doing. I'm just tackling. He said, read his script. I said, yeah, he said, pretty good. I said, George, he wrote a script. It's pretty good. He can write. She said, she kept saying, read his script. I go, now, mind you, Boston Public School student. I did go to 766. I was in all those programs because most artistic young people are just gifted. They're visual. I'm a visual learner. I didn't know that my friend was too. I didn't know that my friend could write. And I don't have the patience to read something for hours. I sat down, I read a script, and I couldn't get out of it until I was done 2 hours later. And I cried, excuse me. I cried because my friend could write. He was gifted. What a gift. I couldn't believe it. I called him and said, you wrote this? You wrote this? Like, no, you really wrote this? Come on, G, tell me the truth, man. What you do? Somebody stuff you do? You wrote this? And I was touched because I didn't know that my friend was not only a great writer and a great visionary, but that I inspired him a little bit. A lot, okay, I don't want to say it, but a lot. So I was touched by that because the same man that told me, get out the block, go do what you do. That's what you do. You don't do this, you do that. And when I did it, no matter what he did, when we came home, you came to do it too, and he did it better. And today we're sitting here having a conversation with him because one of his scripts is all the Before I bring it all about him, I'm gonna wrap it into the neighborhood. So I lived in Mattapan with him and the brothers that I came to visit lived in Four Corners, what we call Four Corners in Dorchester. Washington, was it Washington, Bowdoin Hall? Yeah, that whole section. That's what we call Four Corners. Now, legendary, Four Corners has been legendary, where we have kids from the neighborhood that become famous. Y'all know who RSO is, Made Man, you know, Ray. Those guys were rappers that really did big things and blew up in the rap industry and you know, with magazines and everything. So Four Corners has a history of some successful thugs, if we can put it that way. Not only in the thug life, but that became real professionals in this artistic industry. Now today, in 2022, another person from that Four Corners is alive, well, and doing some incredible stuff. And this is my friend George Powell. No, because now we're gonna dissect it.
Now we're going to dissect it.
When the hell did you start writing? I've been dying to ask that question.
All right, you know when it started? True story. I was in prison. The COs came in to search up the cell, found something in the cell. I got taken down to the hole. So I'm in the hole now, and I'm by myself. You're in the hole, you're by yourself. So your mind starts just going places. So while my mind was going places, I started entertaining the way it went, and I started writing. And you know, it sounds weird, but I was hearing the voices, right? You really hear them, you can listen. And when I write in the sense of, like, I don't like calling the characters, but the two characters seem fake. Like, if I'm writing the Bill story, I'm writing Bill. Bill's telling me what his story, me and him, Bill's going back and forth, right? It becomes like, when you're writing a story, you gotta get it as, you're doing almost an autobiography of that person, of that story, that moment. So that's how I write, that's how I take it. So it's like, I'm hearing these voices, I'm starting writing. And they was like, they came to me, and I'm like, they're like, it's time for you to go. I said, no, let me finish. Let me stay here. Let me finish my story. They said, you sure you want to stay here? I said, yes, let me finish the story. Let me finish the story right here. I said, okay, we stay here. Let me stay there. I stayed there an extra month and a half. And I
In
finished
the
the
hole?
story. Yeah, I stood there.
God, you must have been focused.
I was happy. That was the happiest moment in prison. I ain't gonna lie. That was my happy. Being by myself. I like being by myself, but even the world like being by myself. That's why I like the highways. But I'm writing and I'm writing and I finished the story. I was like, y'all can go now. Y'all can take me out. And I just kept on writing from that point on. And it's like, when I write, it's like, it takes me one thing. The most important thing about writing is too, you could be all you could be in writing, right? You could be the best father. You could be the worst father. You could be the biggest drug dealer who have to worry about going to jail. You know what I'm saying? You could be the president of the United States. You could be whatever you want in writing. It just allows you to be so much, and it gives you. And what I loved about writing too, it also it taught me the word understanding. Like that's my favorite word. I'm gonna preach this word to the day I die, for the whole world to know. The most important word for all of us to have is understanding. And I think from writing, you learn how to understand different perspectives of life. You write a different perspective of life. You're writing about a person from this angle. You're writing from a person from this person. So you learn different perspectives. You understand why this person is acting this way. So we could just, anything we get out here before I finish to go on, if we just get love and understanding in our lives, we're going to be all right. As a human race, we're going to be all right. Those two words is more important than anything else that we can live by. I know I did a lot of wrong. I'm telling you right now, like he just told you, I did wrong. My attorney would tell you right there, I did wrong. My wife, my sister, Peg, Lynn, they know my history. I did a lot of wrong. Yusuf, they know he visited me in prison. He was in prison with a program. I did a lot of wrong in my life. I'm not proud of it, but I'm not ashamed of it either, because it's who made me who I am today, right? So I'm not going to say I have regrets. I'm not going to say what I'm going to do is live my life now and live from this moment now, and that's all I can do to give to the world back. But writing to me is it's so real. It's like, it comes to me like I don't know, I can't explain
I
it
just
to
wish
you.
I knew that back when we was dealing with all this Boston youth and stuff, because I'd have shoved out a
I didn't know I could have write. I didn't know they came to me in the hole.
I mean, in what age was this?
What year was that?
I wouldn't say which
2013.
I didn't want to say that.
Last time. It was the last time. Last time. Like 2020.
You know what I said? I don't know. And you know what? Plus to your wife who stuck with you through the thick and thin. This is George, okay? I'm glad you're here. I'm glad we finally get to really connect.
As a whole, I know a lot of like my brother Steve right here.
Yeah,
he used to be in the yard with me. And Steve would tell you, he would walk the yard. And me and Steve would be in the yard. I'm like, Steve, I just wrote a story. He was like, yeah, what you wrote? I said, you gotta read it, man. And Steve was like, here we go again. You take the story, he'll read it, he'll come back. I read it. I said, yo, what you read it? What's it about? What's the story about? He would tell me. I'm like, nah, you gotta give me more, Steve. You gotta give me more, right? I feel like, yo, you gotta give me more. You gotta give me more. He would break it down. I said, yeah, you know what I'm writing. You understand the depth of the story. Because to me, if I'm not writing the depth, if I can't get the inner human being, not the outer, the inner soul of the human being, if I can't get that into the character, I'm not listening to the character. I'm not listening to the person. I use character for lack of a better word. I'm not listening to the person. So when I write, I truly, when y'all see the movie, y'all don't understand where I'm coming from in the writing. I truly want to bring understanding to the human race. That's my whole platform of writing. That's the whole platform of solo production. Bringing understanding to the human. Make understanding be the main word with love. I guarantee the humans will live better with each other.
You sound like a veteran writer.
It's like, listen, like everyday Boston. Let's take everyday Boston as an example. Stories connect people. Look around. Everybody look around us.
All connected.
We all connected from a story. This is a story that's bringing people together. So we know it works just by this right here. Look we are all forms of people here, from all culture, race, financial background, religious background. Look at it. Look at this beautiful people that's around us. This is what everyday Boston do. They bring stories together. Stories really bring people together. When you're in the yard in prison, people's around people like this with stories. And everybody gathers together and listens to stories. People tell you the stories is what really, from the beginning of time, it's always been about stories. So it's a platform that if we incorporate in our lives, our daily lives, we would come together like we are in this room right now. We will do it. It's like, come on. It's like, I know, like I said, I know I did a lot of wrong. But I know, like, the kids that's coming up, we just need to teach them. When Carol will tell you, the first day I met her, what I said, it's all about the kids. I said, it's all about the kids. You get the younger generation, you got to just give it to them. Like,
Talking about kids,
them.
this is an interview,
Right.
and we gotta have a conversation.
There we go.
Run it on. We did some work. I worked with a group. Curly's not here. Officer Curly is not here, but the kids over at Acting Up in the 5-0.
5-0, yes.
And it's another theater program that I got involved with the Boston Police that I'll be working with them soon in July. Well, he did a documentary with the 13th.
2013.
The 2013, and he wanted me to host. I'm like, he wanted me to be the lead, and I'm reading this. I'm like, gee, there's a whole lot of stuff you want me to say. I can't memorize. My brain ain't the same way. But we did it. We brought these kids in, and they each read the amendment up to the 13th Amendment. And it's I won't lie. It was probably the first time I paid attention to the amendments. And when I understood the 13th Amendment and understood that that was another way for the government to put us back into slavery, because once you get in trouble, you lose all your amendment rights. They can do anything they want with you. And yes, we have some people that are terrible criminals. Don't worry about it. Come on, find a seat. Came in, it's a small room. We all know you're here. You look like you just left bench pressing trucks and everything. So we know what's gonna mess with you. You're all right. But the fact is that there are some people, the conversation the other day with a child, one of my students was, redemption has to be possible. At some point, somebody has to have the opportunity to make peace, to make amends with their life, to make peace with their mistakes. Now, as we move into this writing, why the walk? What was it about that story that was so important that you had to write it down? I know, but I don't know if they know.
Okay, the walk, the reason for the walk was, Carol was having we all got together. Every day Boston first started, we all got together. I had to write down something about personal life. And Catherine from Charlestown wrote down her experience about the busing. And when she wrote it from a high school child not going to her prom, not having a senior year, and it was like the things she missed. So I realized that hearing that story, I was like, you know, when you see 1974 busing riots, it's vicious. It's vicious, it's ugly. It's a lot of hate there. It's a lot of hate. We see the hate, we live the hate. Black people live the hate in 1974. Crazy hate. But at the same time, some of that hate was just anger and fear. It's a difference, right? It's a difference between hate and fear and anger. Hate is hate. Hate is Ku Klux Klan, raping, killing, unnecessary. Hate is a whole different. Anger and fear is different, and as humans, we need to learn to separate the difference between anger and fear, because anger and fear don't mean that you hate the person. It means at that moment we don't like what's going on. And it comes like this, like when a mother chastises or a father chastises a child, and the child says, "I hate you, I don't want to be." They don't hate. Oh, I wish you was dead. That's not hate. That's anger. That's not accepting the moment for what it is to change.
Bad choice of words.
You know what I mean? And it's a feeling at the moment. It's a feeling at the moment. But we take so it caused me to look into the busing era. When I looked at it, it was like, oh man, there's a whole bunch of documentaries, a lot of documentaries, but no feature film. There it is. Okay. I was in the streets, so I know about voids. If you find a void, that's what you feel in life. You feel a void, that's how you know you can make something out of it. It could grow into something because it's missing. It's missing. And the feature film of a documentary was missing. The feature film was missing about the busing riot. So I took the Dan. Dan is the director of the movie. Good for and he kept, and he's a solid dude. Solid, I'm giving him his credit. He said, I said, yo, Dan, you should do the film. You should make a movie about the war, about the bus era. He said, yeah. He said, yeah, my father had something to do with it. I said, for real? There it is. That's the vibe. That's the energy. He said, go ahead and write it. He said, go write it. He said, go write it and bring it back to me. So I went home late night, sat down. My wife said, all right, late night, super late. I want to hear all the voices in my head. I got to hear them. And I'm writing. It took me a month to write it. I wrote it a month. I sent it to Dan. He was like, He read it. He said, "This is great, but you gotta do a lot of rewrites." So we just rewrite for 6 months, 6 months straight of rewriting. The important thing with this, this is how you know when the universe and God steps in, because Dan was supposed to do a movie called Panama, right? Direct a movie called Panama, but they took him off the director, and they said they got another director to do it. That gave him, he said, "You know what? We're gonna make this movie right here," and that's why this movie's made. Yeah, because he was taking off that.
I'm gonna go ahead and ask the question. Where did you meet Dan?
In prison.
And where in prison? In the yard, at the lunchroom?
Okay. Dan was locked up. Dan was in OCC minimum. Me, Dan, and Steve was together, right? Dan was like this. Dan came in. He used to take, everybody who's been in prison knows you don't take showers without your slippers on. Dan used to go in the shower without his slippers. So people thought he was crazy. Right? So people thought he's crazy. He's a fake director. I said, he's a director, so I've been in the hole already. I got a story already. He's my antennas go. He's a director. I'm not gonna see it. I'm not gonna. I want to hear his story. Right? I connect people. I want to hear his story. Let me hear what he got to say. So I went up to Dan. He's like, "Yeah." I said, "You're a director. Yeah, I'm a director." He said, "You know what? If you really want to write and learn, go get the Six Fields book." So I went and got the Six Fields book. My sister bought the Six Fields book for me. She sent it up to the prison. I read it. I went back to Dan. He was like, "No." I said, "I read the Six Fields book. I fully understand it." Every Sunday from that point on, me and Dan sit down and he'll teach me. We go over it. We write. He'll tell me what to write. Block points, this, that, way to change, structure, this. And when he went home, he gave me his number. This is why I say he's a solid dude. There's a lot of dudes who meet in prison, they go home and they say something. And when you get home, it's a whole other situation. They're not living up to their words. When I went home, I called Dan, and his number was there, and he was good. He was like, "Yo, I'm here." He sent me out. He sent for me to go run this film, an LA Minute. He was filming. He sent it out. I went out there, paid for my ticket, paid for my way to stay, and I learned some things on the set. He was showing me different things. I'm like, "Wow, this is it right here." I said, "Yo, Dan, we're gonna make a movie." I said, "You know what, Dan, we're gonna get an Oscar. We're gonna get an Oscar. We're gonna get an Oscar, man."
Thus, 4 out of the, how many actors? 4 out of the leaders, 4 out of the 5 actors are either Oscar winners or Oscar nominated.
We're gonna get an Oscar.
Yeah. Wait a minute. He comes home, and that's one of the things. We don't get an Oscar. What's the other thing you told me? I know, it's terrible. No children here. But we don't sell scripts like what?
I said, Naheem, I went to Naheem. I said, "Well, Naheem, I'm hyped. I know Naheem was in the business for years. And I love this brother. He's the real celebration because he kept the street clean. Right? This is where it counts, right? He kept the streets clean. He kept them kids, he taught the kids, like I always tell you, it's all about the kids. He taught the kids, he teach the kids. So when I first came home, I know I'm clean. I don't mean drugs, I mean mentally clean. And my ambition is different. I go to the clean guy. "Yo, Naheem, I got 10 kilos. It's ready to go." He said, "What?" They said, "Oh, no. I said, "No, they're strips.
I don't even know what to do with that.
I'm telling them, we ready to push these out. We're going to push them out.
Right, but you know what? And now I'm making the connection because in our street life, G was the man. And now that he has these scripts and he's transferred, and we show this with all young people when we work. I got kids that can sell you drugs, that can hustle, that can be whatever, and don't know how to transfer that into a corporate or a real business level. This man figured it out because we're sitting here because there's a movie that we're going to see on Friday with Oscar Award winners that he wrote. Period. We'll talk about that later. But that's all right because while y'all was doing that, I was blessed doing 5 other movies that I was blessed to do. So we kids from the neighborhood. I literally did 5 movies in the last year, and I'm getting ready to do one more in the middle of the month. And I would have never, now I'm going to say I would have never thought. I always dreamed to be here. And as it's happening, it's kind of scary. And then your partner's writing scripts that are going into the silver screen by professional, big-time actors. I mean, you start to think, are these all the sign? Yes, they're the sign because what? You said we're gonna come out here and do it. You always did that, and I trusted you. And here we are having this conversation, and I'm smiling ear to ear because
we old heads.
and we old now. We got we gonna make that. I got a big T-shirt saying I survived the '80s. We survived the '80s. We survived the '80s. You know, come on in. We know when you're late. Don't worry about it. It's all family. Come on and find yourself a seat. It's all right. If this is all right with you, I want to open it up and ask, because I know there's some people out here that want to ask a question. But before we all that, again, I want to take the time to acknowledge Everyday Boston, Cara. Thank you for this, and thank you for the work and making sure that our voices are heard.
That's right.
That said, before the end of the night, we're going to give you a number or information. $1, $2, 50 cents. You donate to this program so she can keep doing this work.
That's right.
Bottom line, you don't got to break your bank, but donate to the people that are helping the people.
That's right.
Okay, now let's get back to this. All right. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Naheem and George show. So I want to open it up for questions because we can sit here and run our mouth, but I'm sure you have some things to do, and we got some brothers and sisters that have been out here with us in this journey, and they can give your perspective what it was like watching the story unravel. All right, so we're gonna open it up, and I'm gonna stand up, guys. So I'm gonna stand behind here. So if you have a question, the questions are now open. Yes, madam, state your name, where you from, and what you do, and then what you want to ask me.
Hi, I'm Patty DeFunis.
Or ask me. Ask me.
Okay.
Or ask me. Right.
My name is Patty DeFunis. I'm a criminal defense and civil rights lawyer in Boston. I do a lot of work that involves the Department of Correction. And so my question to you is, do you find that your criminal record has held you back in your pursuits in Hollywood, or has it been somewhat of an advantage?
So I want to get clear. So are you asking that, did your criminal history affect your progression or lack of progression in Hollywood?
No,
Your ability to get things done.
Your ability to get things
I
done.
understand what she said. Completely.
Go ahead. Somebody else.
Go for it. And it absolutely helped. Right? Because you know why? Because everybody likes the story of somebody coming up, right? So let's be honest. So it's marketable, right? It's business, right? So everybody likes that story. So absolutely, it helped. But it helped more, to me, my history helped more with my writing than anything else. Because it allowed me, because, you know, I sold drugs, right? So I sold drugs to lawyers, judges, doctors, street people, anybody, white, black, Asian, Spanish, make no difference. So it allowed me to interact with different people in different ways and see everybody has weaknesses and strengths. No matter what race or color you are, everybody's pretty much the same. We're all the same, right? We're all in here with a mask on and breathe. We're all the same. We all hurt, laugh, and cry. So, no, it helped. It helped.
Where many of our young people, male, female, whatever, have been defeated, you said, because they don't know. So I think it's something to be said about the person, the individual having a fight. I was watching this movie yesterday, and the daughter's a military person, and her father's a military person. She's sent to do an assignment, and the father's having a conversation with her. He said, remember what I always taught you, never stop fighting. And that speaks truth right here. No matter what happened, we never stop. Trust me, I'm in a business. I was spending time where I was sitting, and he came home and he had to help me. Excuse me. He came home, he had to help me. I'm like, it's a tough time, boy. Not one movie, not conversion, not a teaching, getting nothing. And you find yourself destitute to want to dive into this business. And then the timing, the fact that the Sunset Law had fallen. Governor Baker wrote it off, excuse me. Little dry mouth. Governor Baker wrote it off, and the fact that now there's over 40 movies coming to Boston.
We got 40.
So the key is not to have them come to Boston. We need 40 movies coming out of Boston.
That's right.
And we got writers, just like he wrote. There's many others that wrote. I got somebody call me every day. I got a movie. And you know, and we laugh. You get locked up for years. What you tell me another prison movie story? And then you find out some of these stories are real wholesome. Stories that led to their going to prison. The stories that led to them wanting to achieve more, do more. Or stories that just said the story that I can't move any further. I'm stuck. You know, this is real. So you all sitting here and having this conversation, which I'm going to open up again to you all to ask him questions, or me, because he said or me too. I don't know why me. It's all about you.
It's all about us.
It's all about us. But if we have a young man in the back wearing red, another one that was lifting trucks all day, God, give the rest
I
of
just
it.
wanted to say, I really appreciate being here, hearing you guys' story. I could relate with a lot of it, because I'm a product of force busing myself. And I grew up in Spring, Savin Hill, and I was bused out Lawrence Ave in 6th grade.
King School.
And yeah, Martin Luther King Junior High School.
Yeah.
And I tell you,
Now it's pretty up.
A student did, because I wasn't cutting out of class in that.
Funny part about it, because thank you, Jimmy. I know we know about busing because I was a kid during busing. I lived on Sawyer Ave. Now, if you know anything about 72, 73, 74, living in Sawyer Ave, and you're the only black. I'm Hispanic. I'm Cuban. And my mother and my aunt both married men from Guatemala. So we have this, you know, you have the Guatemalan family. They own this triple decker. We're sitting there, living here, and I only have 2 friends, and they're all white, and I'm the only black kid. And I'm the only black kid that went to North Dorchester Boys and Girls Club. Okay? And no matter how much they hurt me or threw rocks, I kept coming back. And I kept positive. So, yeah, it was interesting to hear your story because it was the opposite for you. You were coming to our block and coming into our school in our neighborhood. What was it? Because right now, your neighborhood, back when you was coming up, no one would ever know now that that was all white. You actually came right now, you couldn't go down Uplands Corner. You couldn't go down Fields Corner. You definitely couldn't go to Andrew. Couldn't go to Andrew. You can go to Andrew. And Savin and Sawyer Avenue is 3 blocks into Savin Hill. Savin Hill was the ruthless. Right, Savin Hill was the most ruthless of all. And with all that, we still were able to survive and found love and found a story. Stories is everything. So now, come on, ask questions. You probably might not get, well, you get this chance again, but not like this. This is intimate and yes. Yes, and then yes. Yes, and then yes. Okay, go.
My name's Sam. I'm just curious.
Stand up, please, so we can hear you.
I'm curious if, as you were producing the movie, if you ever came across any pressure to change something that or views, and if you had to try to kind of keep it to your views, you were able to speak to it.
Quite a bit.
And they come to you ask certain advice, like they'll be like on the side. It won't be on set, it won't be nothing like that. They'll come, like Dan will come and be like, "Yo, what you think? Oh, if I see something while I was there, you see something wrong, they'll do it." But the way they wrote the script, obviously some got left out. But the concept, the essence of it is absolutely good. Absolutely good.
But no, in her sense of saying, did you fight for something? You did try to fight for something.
I mean,
What did you try to fight for?
A whole bunch of stuff. I just want the B-rolls of Boston. I want to put more B-rolls of Boston. We didn't film it in Boston. We filmed it in New Orleans. So I wanted to have a little bit more B-rolls of Boston.
But what else did you fight for?
That's not fighting.
Yeah, you was fighting for a lot of
I
things.
fight for a whole shit, but that's the main thing.
He was fighting to get me. He was fighting to get me. I was trying to get some play. He was fighting to get me in the movie. And
I did that too, but that just didn't work. I just didn't have no. That's why we have to make a movie. What about us in Boston, where we got control? This next story has to be made here, so we can have a Naheem, and we can have the brothers that come home from prison holding up a car space in the movie, just so the trust the park $600, $700 a week. You know how much income brings in the community if you film in the streets?
Films equal jobs. That's what we kept saying that side. Films equal jobs. That's why we fought.
And it's Corey friendly, because I'm going to make it Corey friendly. What the hell?
And then,
I want everybody that's been locked down to come to this.
Yep, come on down and be a part of it, because everybody's. It doesn't discriminate, as we see all the nonsense that goes on with half of these great actors, but the fact they do. Madame, you had a question before I started running my mouth.
Yeah, I did.
And then I ran my mouth so long you forgot. I'm sorry.
This is how
We also ran into each other at Soleil the other day.
You what? I did.
So ladies, man.
Oh, yes.
So ladies.
Yes.
We went to another panel and you talked a bunch and I forgot my question.
I did it to you again. I did it again. During our meetings.
I have another though, I think. My name is Samaya.
Hi, Samaya, please.
I'm a filmmaker. I've been writing screenplays since I was 6. I'm from Roxbury, Mission, Maine. My question to you, George, is for some of the other screenplays you've written, what were some of the other launching pads? Because you described this one where you saw that hole and you filled it, but for your other ones, how did those come about? What were like the sparks for you?
Well, I was locked up. I wrote while I was locked up. I was in prison. The one I want to write next, What About Us? I was making a phone call. I called home. It was 2013. With the Hernandez case and the bombing of Boston and all that stuff that's going on. So I call home. I'm in prison. I call home like, what's going on? They be like, yo, so-and-so got shot, or so-and-so got killed. I'm like, yo, that was in the news. And I didn't see it. I'll turn the channel and try to find it. And I'm like, damn. What, they're not talking, it don't matter? What about us? Shit, you know what I mean?
There it is.
He'll tell you Steve was right there, right next to me, like this. I start writing, What About Us? That's the board. It's like, the story What About Us is about the news media having empathy to the tragic that happens in the urban neighborhood. Because, okay, in the urban community, you say somebody got shot, oh, another shooting in Roxbury. If it happened in Newton, oh, it's a sad story today. And then it's
you hear it 5 or 6 times.
Right? It's a little empathy goes on with it. That so now it's like there's something missing there, right? So if we need to show the media, news media need to have more empathy, so that people as a whole will have empathy for the community and not just see another shooting. Like another shooting make it sound so repetitive and non-caring. So that's what happened.
Where are you from, sister? Ethnically.
My parents are Somali refugees. I was born in Boston.
And that's a serious story because there's a large community in Roxbury.
Yeah.
And so what needs to happen is that we need to make sure there's funding and opportunity for those stories to be told. Your script should be on the table. So we have a friend, Narissa Williams, who has 8 scripts on deck, and we're trying to make more. But in order for all that to happen, we need funding. We need investment. People shouldn't have to go to New York to work. The reason why when we killed the Sunset Law, we wanted to make sure actors in Boston, so you have to have actors in Boston in your film. And I don't just mean as back as extras, we mean as principal actors. Okay? And I smell, yeah. I smell it when I gotta go and audition. Here's a funny story. I did do Equalizer too, but I also auditioned for Denzel's part. Why are you wasting my time? Come on in, come on in, come on in. There's seating. If you see somebody that make move over, give this seating over here, come on in. We need it. And thank you all for coming out. This is beautiful. I'm looking at this room. It's full. One of the biggest problems is that, they'll come, they'll have you audition for a part, they already know they have somebody, so they can turn around and say, we didn't really find anyone, so we're going to bring our person in. The reason why local hire is important, because they can't do a movie without hiring somebody from Boston. Here lies the issue. This is why I teach. We got to make sure we got talent. I don't need you to be black in acting, I need you to be black talented in acting. Because if there's talent, we ain't got to bury Denzel, stay out here in LA, we got Naheem. We got actors in Boston that can handle it. We got screenwriters in Boston that can write it. Right. There's a lot of us. You go to Roxbury Film Festival. The same amount of people I see here, we should be tripling that with the Roxbury Film Festival, just because it's Roxbury. And not only that, it's about us. For us and about us has to be about us. You wrote a story about us during a very trying time. I remember during busing coming from Southie, escorted by the National Guards. I'm a little kid, and my mother's trying to drive me and throwing concrete bricks through our window. What the hell? I'm like, I didn't go to school for 3 months. That also affected my love for education. How many other young people were affected for their love for education? And then when you go to school, and you're in a school, and the toilets got no doors, There's a chain holding the giant toilet tissue that somebody figured out how to dip into the toilet. The toilet doesn't have a rim, okay? The room's got one book and they gotta make copies to share with everybody. This is what it was like coming up during that busing time and going to school. I went to Mary Curley Middle School in the Rogers, and I'm telling you, it wasn't fun, and it was terrible. How are you supposed to embrace education when this is how they're treating you about education? Then you go to Brookline High School, or your friends that are in Becko, doing North, and you're dissecting a frog. What? I walked into Brookline High School, teacher wants to know about me in Cuba and my experience. You want to know about me? They're not asking those questions. So what else is these young people supposed to do when they go to school and they're dismissed, then no one's invested, no one cares about their story, and then they go to the neighborhood and we sit around, we want to hear about your story. We're encouraging you. And then you find your niche, and then you start selling drugs, and it's the only way you survive. Then you go to jail, your life is ruined. But through all your fighting, you find a spark. You find some passion. That one friend you sent away, don't do this no more, go and do that. You sit in jail watching, you tell me, I was watching you while I was locked up. And I'm going like, yo, that's Naheem. That's Naheem. We don't think about that impact, because I'm humble. I want to ride the bus every day. I want to go to the corner store. I want to be able to go to a park with some kids and say, y'all want to do some theater games? They look at me crazy and we do it. You know, I still want to be able to do that. The day I can't, I want to be successful in my business. I want us both to be stupid rich. So funny, Rich, that we're funding programs and film programs. We're funding. I would love for y'all to make a phone call and say, George and Naheem, I want to do this movie. All right, let's read it. You look at it, and we can say, all right, we can pay for it. And we're not just going to give you $100,000, we can give you $100 million. Real movie.
In the neighborhoods.
And you know what? And call Denzel, and call all those other guys and offer them again, because we can pay them $20 million. We can do it. We want to get there, but in order to get there, it takes what we're doing right now. These are all the steps. Okay, more questions, because not just about. Yes, sir. State your, and please stand up, even though the people in the back might not be able to see you because you're giant.
So my name is Eustace, Reverend Eustace Pay, and I don't have a question, but I'm just sitting here looking at George and remembering all the times we were sitting in prison and having a conversation about his kilos and how he was going to give the first one away for free. And everybody was going to see the quality. And as you said, taking the talent he already had and translating it. And what I'm looking at...
Transferring.
What I'm looking at is just a sample of the talent that we throw away into prison.
A lot of it.
And all it does is get incubated and gets able to grow. And if we can continue to tap into people like George to help them evolve and blow up when they get out, and that was my vision. My vision's sitting right there. My vision's sitting out there. My vision is getting done. You see a boy, and I was the only black male volunteer going into 3 different prisons every week. And my room was full because I looked like the guys that were in the room.
Yes, they did. They wanted to hear from you.
But I also had guys come in the room that didn't look like me. Only because I'm listening and I know you're gifted too. So sometimes we don't see each other's stories because we can't get past the color. One of the major things that are in the prison that we don't realize is also poor people. Poor white, poor black. Nobody rich was sitting in there.
No.
So yes, it has its color issues, but it has its economic issues too. And so being able to tap into each one of us and stop playing the game that the top 2%, 5% keep dividing the poor people by having them focus on their economic problems and their race problems, not realizing all those people up there with all that money, they could care less what color they are. They care about green. And that's it.
Well, I'm doing this job on the Declaration for the ART 1776. And the first thing we tell students, who wrote the Declaration? Old, white, rich men who did not care if you were white As long as if you didn't have the money they had, they didn't care. That's a small percentage of who wanted this world this state to reflect them. And it's not. How you doing? So you're right. I mean, I want to reflect over to Steve because Steve, you're a chef. May I say that? Is that all right for me to say that? Well, you were. You were, but you know, you came home. You got a city. You work for the city. You're doing big things for the city. Those opportunities are not granted to everybody, but they should be in some kind of way because look what it did for you. You're sitting here with us too. Just because we up here don't mean that you're not up here with us. It's your story too. Your success too. You're an example of what can be done if you put some effort. I don't feel bad for a brother coming home from prison. I feel bad for a brother that would never leave the prison in his jail, in his head. Okay? A prison without bars. That's the brother I feel bad about. Take it easy, beloved. Thank you. That's the brother I feel bad about. You know, again, now let's go back to this, the walk. When you heard, it's time? 5 more minutes. 5 more minutes, 5 more questions. Go. Go.
George, it's great. I don't tell people. You can't do it all. You should do it this way. I need to stay focused on what I'm doing. Don't tell people. People will discourage you.
I didn't know the man had to write. I didn't know you knew how to write. You know what I'm saying?
Keep it within yourself.
Yep. And oh, by the way, brother, you look fantastic. And you asking the right questions. And because you asking the right questions, you're in a good place. You're going to go. There's a brother behind you. Go.
So George, you know, like me and you, we've been in the struggle together. I mean, like, you know, into my family's event, and you know, we really love you and appreciate you. So my question to you is this: throughout the struggle in prison, because you know we've been there half the journey, or part of the journey. How do you stay focused through all the adversity? You know, dealing with family, dealing with the issues in prison, as well as getting out and dealing with everyday society with your family and everything like that. How do you stay focused and keep that prison alive?
Yeah. There you go. I gotta love my family. Plus, it's like, I don't know. I know what it is. I live in the moment, man. So if you stay in the moment, you stay focused on what's priority right now. Like right now, this is the moment. This is a beautiful moment. Look at the people. Look at the different cultures. Look at the different everything. This is like you stay in the moment. You remain focused. Once you go out of the moment that you're in right now, then you're all over the place. Because all you can do is live the moment. You can't live tomorrow. You can't live yesterday. You can only live right now. So therefore, that's the main reason, though. Just stay right here. If we stress a whole bunch of things that we have no control of in the future. Control what you have right here. Control this right here. This right here. You control this right here. You're good.
I didn't know you were so heavy, man. I did. He's always been heavy, always wise. One more question, then we gotta wrap it up. You don't gotta go home, but you gotta get up out of here. Yes, sir. It's your time.
I'm Ken.
Hi, Ken.
I know what prison does, you know, a lot of us do, you know. I mean, one, when you go in there, you're a peaceable man. And they keep you as a peaceful man. I commend you from coming out and being in there and not allowing them to keep you a peaceable man.
Last one. Sorry, last question. And then we gotta. Yes,
That's big bro.
That's big big bro, Tony Lewis. His father was a big inspiration in my life too.
My name's Tony Lewis. As he said, living in the moment. This moment for me, they were younger brothers to me, and I saw like him making this movie and hearing different people's perspective on how busing was impacting them. I know in the magnet schools it was a whole other dynamic because you have to go here, you have to go here. I was a product of exam schools in Boston, but it still impacted in some ways. In terms of Silent Hill for me was, how busing killed my spirit in certain ways was, I was a swimmer, and I was recruited to swim for the swim team. But we used to practice at the boys club in Silent Hill.
Yep,
and at that time, that was like considered like South Boston. And what the turnoff was for me was, I had to have a school aide sit beside the pool, follow me to the bathroom, and that, to me, that killed the fun of what it was about, and it actually turned me off, and I actually quit the team. I mean, I played sports that kept me in the neighborhood, but the swimming was outside of that. But the transformation in the moment, what I enjoy is I'm older. I know Steve from when I was teaching. I know you guys over the years, and just seeing the transformation and the paths that life has made for us all, and brought us to self-realization of that love and that understanding what the life is. And I'm just proud of that. And the movie, although I haven't seen it yet, it makes me reflect back on that time and how it impacted. Because years later, I became a carpenter, and I went to work at South Boston High School. And we was changing the windows of school, and I was just reflecting on the things that happened in that time period. So I got a chance to walk through halls in a different time and a different way. But just to see the transformation of the time and what it's done to people and how it's shaped us. I love that. I love that. So I love
Right.
that.
The fact that, yeah, go ahead.
Real quick. Tony Lewis, when I first got locked up, he came to visit me. That's my very first child. He said, George, he said, you're building your house on sand. You must build your house on rocks. I got the rock, bro. I got the rock.
Before we leave, thank you, and I love you. You're my brother for life since we was kids. You saved me. Thank you. We love you. That's right. Because you make this happen. Thank you for taking care of him.
That's right.
He took care of me.
Well, thank you. Thank God. How about that? We gotta go, but thank you to Everyday Boston. Please, if there's an opportunity to the website, some people want to make a donation. This card, make sure you grab a card, send $1 or $2, and make sure you keep this program happening, because some of you have stories that need to be told.
Amen. We gotta make more movies in Boston.
Make more movies in Boston. Make more movies in Boston. Thank you.